Hello and welcome back again to Cody's Radio Workshop. On the bench today I've got a Roberts, and it's been a while since I've been here, and I apologise for that. You know, there are many of you out there that do wait for these videos coming along, but with summer holidays being a thing, my wife teaching and my son being at school, and we've had 6 weeks of absolute bliss together, and I've also been really quite ill. I'm over that now. I think I'm as well as I could be, not quite as fit as the butcher's dog, but there you go. Anyway, we're back and we've got the Roberts R760 on the bench. This has come to me, well, it actually arrived in really poor condition because it was sent with every Hermes, which is a courier here in the UK, which has a reputation that precedes itself for, well, let's just say they're not my first choice of courier. But it's arrived, and if I just jiggle this about, it automatically just pulls out. I haven't had to undo the shoulder screws or anything, so those have broken off on the inside. Now this has come to me for parts kind of thing not working. It has broken inside, but the report from the previous owner was that it had been previously used and enjoyed. However, it didn't work on the mains adapter anymore, so they carried on using it with a battery, and now it doesn't work at all. To me, just thinking about these things and knowing what I know about these things, I am already erring towards the side of reversed polarity. It's been used at some point with or without the owner's knowledge with a different power adapter which has blown the integrated circuit, which is the TDA7231. So I'm going to take this apart, which won't take very long at all because the shoulder's broken, it's not actually held in, and take the chip out, put a new chip in, and see where we go from there. So let's go. Pull that out of the top, turn that over, disconnect the speaker. That's probably the fastest one I've ever done. Just put that on one side. Right, so this is probably the offending chip right there, if it is, but I'm going to power it up first and test. So it's this IC here that is usually the prime suspect. I'm not saying it will be on this occasion, but just looking at the inside I can't see any domed caps or anything anywhere. Can't outwardly see any areas of damage. So I'm going to pull this chip, but like I said, I'm going to test it first. I'm going to put it on the bench power supply and see if it's drawing absolutely anything at all, because if it's drawing nothing at all, then it actually could be a number of things, including the on and off switch, if it's not actually switching anymore. So that's the power leads applied. I'm now just going to attach the speaker to my, well, it is my bench speaker, so I'm just going to attach the bench speaker is what I meant, and switch on the power supply, which is on, and it did draw something then. I think it might be the switch, because it's now drawing nothing at all. It's not drawing any power at all, but if I just hold it there on the switch, it tries to switch. So it could even just be, and here I am just throwing this one out there, it could even be a dirty contact on the switch. I can hear the tiniest of electrical connections there, just as there is making the contact. So when I turn the switch, you can see there, that's off because it's broken the switch, and that's made the switch there. So I'm just going to bridge that. It is trying to come on, and according to that now, that was on and drawing 23 milliamps, but there is nothing out of the speaker at all. There, It is drawing current. Speaker is connected. Power is properly connected and at 9 volts. So I am just investigating and working out my next plan of attack. So there's no audio amplification at all from there. So if I now get a multimeter and just check a couple of voltages on the back of the board, I will zoom you back out so you can roughly see what I'm doing. Now here's the audio chip here, so I need to find a suitable ground. Let us go. Well, we might as well go on the wrong side of the chip, hadn't we? Because they're all ground there. We've got 9 volts going into the chip. Nothing coming out. So my guess is it's the chip, it's the IC, which is a TDA7231. They're getting harder to find now, but happily, luckily, several years ago I had the foresight to buy a huge job lot of them. Got some dip sockets first, because I'm going to fit a dip socket, just so if the chip ever blows again it will be a lot easier for, hopefully it will be me, if people bear me in mind. And there's one tray of the ICs. I'm going to take one of those out. There we go. Pop those back in a moment. Might as well put the IC into the socket now, because I do just have to bend the legs and pop that into there. So there you can see I've put the chip, when it focuses, into the socket. So if anybody is unlucky enough to blow this chip again in future, the next person will just have to lever this chip out and just drop one in rather than solder it. So I'm now just going to take the IC off and replace it. Now all I've done is just popped a cloth underneath here, and that just stops this thing skidding around. I do have a block somewhere, but I can't find it at the minute, that I usually use to prop up, but this just keeps it stable on the table. I'll take all of the ground pins off first. It's just the way I do things. I'll get some solder wick on there. It's a really common thing with these radios, that people get them, realise that they're not too happy with it working from battery, and they'd rather have it plugged in, because then it's like you just switch it on without thinking about it, and it feels like it's free to work it. When these things are working properly, a battery, if you listen to one of these radios for a good couple of hours a day, you should get a couple of months out of a PP9 battery. But if the power consumption's all wrong, then you won't. Now I do have an IC lifter, chip lifter. It's a wearer chip lifter, and this is ideal for popping underneath the chip. I'm just angling and lifting, hopefully both sides. So there's the chip out, it's just stuck on with some old Roberts glue. And we'll pop this one in, observing the polarity. And it is. There we go, that's that in, and the chip is the right way around with a little cut out on the left hand side as we are looking at it. You see the little indent on the left hand side of the chip there. That goes to the left as we are looking at it now. We'll zoom back out and get that soldered up. Soldering them up's relatively straightforward. Just put a bit of flux on there just to help things along. Now, all of these top ones are common, they are all ground, so you can solder with impunity without really thinking about it. But these bottom ones are all individual and separate. This is the power audio in and audio out on this side. Right, so that should be good. Just turn that off, turn the power on. Connect up an external aerial.
Down to experts, turn the day in. How are you doing, Harry?
Yeah, no, I'm doing just good.
It's funny because 10 years ago...
I've been doing film since I was... And it goes at 5, in tune tomorrow.
So there we go, we've restored the operation to it just by changing that chip there and cleaning the switch. Just looking at that chip, the old one that is, that I took out, I don't know whether you'll see there's kind of a mark in the middle where it's got a little bit hot. That does indicate to me that that chip has blown.
Right, Hamlin, do you know what? I've never...
So that's that part of it done. Now we have to fit it back into the case. This part here is broken, and that part on that side is also broken. Now handily, the parts that have broken off because of the courier's mishandling, I've got them in my pocket. There's one that I nearly lost. Now I can drop that into there. That does slot in, so I can use some epoxy and fit that in a little more permanent. Now what I'm going to use is this stuff. It's UV hardened resin. So you put this stuff on and then you use a UV light to cure it and make it go off, go hard, set. So let's see if I can get this. You only need a little bit. I'll get the UV light. Which is here. Just a light that just shines UV. Shine that onto there, probably, I don't know, 10 or 12 seconds or so. Don't know how long that was, but that's now set. So do the same with the other side. Catches it all. Get the UV light to shine on there again. Well, not again, because this is the first time I've done this side. Well, that should have got that, and it has. Well, that should be enough. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it? But an essential part of the process. Right, aerial, which is handily in my pocket, or antenna if you'd prefer. Let's just have a look at the... It's nice and straight. So that will go into there. one's going to be overkill, but there you go. Just hoping the screw's not too long. If the screw is too long, then it'll just poke up the tip of the aerial a little bit, but that should be fine. For putting the power jack back in. There, that's got it. And tighten up that other one. And on. There we go. Nicely done. Even though I do say so myself. That is fantastic stuff, the UV curing resin. Right, what I am going to do, because this will be going back to its owner, is give it a bit of a spruce up. I'm not going to go to town on it like I sometimes do, because this belongs to somebody else, but I am going to get all of those paint spots off, or as many as I can. You know what it's like when you see the decorators paint on stuff. There's a billion spots and you clean them all off, but there's still 900 million of them left. Get right in. Oh. Watching somebody clean a radio. God bless you all. What I'm using is the infamous, now on my channel at least, what I call the magic juice, which is the Screwfix heavy duty degreaser. I'm actually using this neat because it will bring the paint off without damaging the finish on the radio. And talking about the finish on the radio, there's some paint on the wood as well, so I'm going to get that off as well. Just pull my knob off. Waiting for the comments down below about that one. And I'm going to have to pick at that one there. There we go. It's gone. I'm never going to get them all. Like I say, you get them all and then you see more. I did say to the previous owner that I would fix it and get back in touch with them. She wanted to part with it because it didn't work anymore, but she really wanted to keep it, and from the sound of things she didn't know anybody that could fix it. Well, I've ended up buying it, and she's said to me that she was reluctant to get rid of it because it has a sentimental value. So I'm going to fix it, then get in touch with the owner again, and I'm sure it'll be on its way back to where it came from, back down to that there London. So that's much better. Just do exactly the same sort of thing with the teak on the front. You can just see these marks at the bottom here. Let's give them a wipe with the magic juice, and they're gone. You see there's a white paint spot here. It will go. I'll put a little bit direct onto there. Just leave that for a minute to soak. See some white in between the grill there as well. That should come off really easy, and it has. Just this top corner one here. I just keep spotting more white paint spots. Some dogs barking there in the background, apologies for that, nothing I can do about it. Even though I'd like to. When I say I'd like to, I just mean I'd like to shut the door, but then it gets too warm in here. Where did that one come from? I wasn't there before. That's a really nice presentable radio now. Now, one last thing. I use this original non-silicone wood silk, which contains no silicone and no water, which may affect your furniture's finish, and it contains beeswax. Accept no imitations. Transformed. Put some direct on there this time. The back of this feels particularly dry. It's probably been sat on a window ledge with the back of it to the sun all the time. Now if I just put a generous amount, which I have done, onto this wood, that should soak in and really bring it up a treat. All in all, it's a nice little radio. I do like these. There are different versions of this. I mean, essentially this is a Roberts Revival, but they called this one the Roberts R760. But it is a Roberts Revival, it just has a different switch arrangement here. So both down is FM, the left one up, the right one down is AM, and both up is long wave. So last thing to do is just get these knobbles back on. Catch you in the next one.